being 4-0, do you think that we can make any conclusive statements this early on about the team believes that they're gonna, everyone should, all the teams should, but I think this team believes that they are gonna make it to the Super Bowl and potentially could win it if, injuries and health provides. Do you think that you as a fan or as a content creator, do you think you can make any conclusive statements right now, or do you think we haven't at this point seen them face a competent team or like an equal level competition team to what they might face later on, and maybe those challenges could come back to kind of wake them up a little bit? Not saying that they would win or lose, but we have to admit that it seems, I think going into week one, maybe the Steelers were a little bit, like I thought the Steelers would be a little bit better. Yeah. But I think in hindsight, when we look at the competition, Rams and Cardinals, both definitely more feisty than I anticipated, but it doesn't seem like we've faced a, championship level team yet. Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. And that's coming this week, right? So I think it's a combination of it being kind of early, but also I think we can make a way too early assessment of the team, right? I saw yesterday, Grant Cohn, he tweeted out he thinks this team looks better than the 2019 team, and I think so far they do. I would say they're a more balanced team. In 2019, and in recent memory of this 49ers team, in particular the defense has always been top 3, dominant force in the NFL. They're winning the games for them. They're not letting any opposing teams get anything on them, kind of thing. And this year, it feels a little bit different. They're still very good. But I think the reason that people are now shifting towards, now it's the offense carrying the team, is because I think the offense is just that much better now than it was in the past, in prior years. And 2019, it is an example of that, right? And that's crazy to say because that team did start 8-0 and they went to the Super Bowl. But I think what we've seen from Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, this offense is definitely a lot better than that 2019 team. So sky is really the limit for them, right? And so looking at that and looking at what we're mentioning, that they still have room to grow, and being that there's a lot of vets that are very well-disciplined team, I do trust that they're going to make those strides. I already saw it from week 3 to week 4. There were improvements.
Progression, for sure.
They were 5-5 in the red zone. They decreased the number of penalties they had. So those were some of the things that I had noticed in the first few games, and I was they can afford to clean those up. And they did, from one week to the next. You see Brock Purdy, early in that one game, it was week 2, struggling for the deep throws. Look at him now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was cooking with Ayuk yesterday. So, they're just going to continue to grow and make strides. Purdy's going to continue to grow. I think Steve Wilkes is going to continue to get comfortable with this defense and the personnel that he has. He's still kind of finding that rhythm. He's still putting Ambry Thomas out there, which I'm not a fan of. I think he'll learn to not do that. Hopefully after this week. But they're just going to keep improving. So I think that's one sweeping statement early on that I think we can make. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have to test it and see it against some really good teams and some really good defenses. So these next two games for me are a good measuring stick for the 49ers. But based on what we've seen so far, there's no reason to think that they can't win those games.
I completely agree. I'm excited to see them go against the Cowboys. I have faith with, especially seeing how the Cowboys face the Cardinals. I have faith that Wilkes will come up with a good, and Kyle Shanahan will come up with a good game plan. Now, Dan Quinn always plays Kyle really well. They seem to scheme against each other and have really good matchups. So it definitely seems like that will be the hardest competition that they've faced. And that Browns defense has looked really, really dominant too.